We are live. How we do, fellas?
Sensational.
So let me go ahead and do the intro. Welcome to the Cares None Be Dope podcast. I am your host, Chris Cares None, and with my co-host, Derek Fisher. What's up, baby?
What's going on, baby brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm sensational. Seriously, I'm feeling great today.
Still, to this day, arguably the one guy with the best vibe I've ever met.
Thank you. I appreciate
in my life.
That's
You think
fair.
so?
I think that's you are about
guys.
Ever. And I know some cool people. You definitely is. Even the story you told me today, you still came in with like a.
Oh yeah.
Never been like in a bad mood.
And then we got Tom.
I know. I'm
At the table.
I know y'all get to see Tom. How y'all looking at?
Yeah, like pretty boy.
I know we're here.
That's
we're
Clark
here. We made some changes to the studio, and so it's a little tough to get me behind the desk now.
I know.
So maybe I'll be here moving forward. Who knows?
How does it feel over here?
It feels weird, dude. I always joke with Colton. It's like I don't do this, so it feels a little strange. I'm gonna be honest.
A little getting out of your comfort zone
a little bit.
I'm
excited to be here, man. As you guys know, it's my birthday.
Yeah,
I'm on a vibe.
You grown now.
What you got going on tonight? Anything?
No, probably not. We went out yesterday with some friends, did some Topgolf shit. Colton was supposed to come, but there's all this like flooding with it was raining a whole bunch yesterday.
Oh yeah, yes it was.
He was on 290 and like apparently like underneath the underpasses, like it was just like up to like the.
It was that bad?
Yeah, he said one car was like completely submerged. Yeah,
I heard there was a lot of flooding, but then you had the NASCAR thing. What was that like, you guys?
I went to that.
I went away from it.
You went away from it?
Yeah, I mean, it was right by where I work and whatnot. I was just,
a little too much.
It was like,
did you watch any of it?
Nah. I was surprised they were actually doing it because you couldn't see shit. That was the day when Canada was on fire and it started to come to Chicago. And
no, was that yesterday?
But it was starting the other day when it was, that's when I was over there. I hadn't been over there since.
Well, the race, I watched a little bit Saturday.
Yeah, how was it?
And it was like a qualifier in NASCAR, but it was actually very cool because most times NASCAR is just circles.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's left and right. So it was, like almost like formula. It was actually kind of dope. But it was interesting seeing the Chicago streets like, like we've been on those streets.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be like a little speed racer on those now.
Ooh.
I heard that some people like snuck on and were doing like after hours, like snuck onto the track, right? You saw that too?
I would imagine
they got in trouble?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that maybe they get away with it, but I'm sure there's like some good / bad actors. But yeah, like I mean, that would be awesome, right?
Yeah.
If I was into that scene, I'd be like, yeah, bro, how can you hook us up? Can you open a gate, let us on the track at 2 a.m. and like rip it? That'd be fun as hell.
It was I heard it was $250 just to get into the area.
Yeah, I heard that.
And like the tickets weren't cheap.
Yeah, and I get that. I don't know. I feel like after all this like stuff with Taylor Swift, I'm just so used to like things of this nature being expensive as fuck. So $250 is like a lot of money, but like at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I wasn't like appalled by that number necessarily, but I think there was a lack of tickets. Like I think it was like you just couldn't get in. Like I think there wasn't much available. We were shooting some event and there was some like company there speaking for NASCAR.
Okay.
And they were like, they were giving away some shit. And it was like these fucking hats and everyone's like, why don't you give away tickets to like the Chicago NASCAR? And like, oh, well, we don't have any tickets to that, And it was like, then get the fuck off the stage, man. Nobody cares. Yeah, it was a little disappointing.
I'm always shocked how many people actually really watch NASCAR. It's like a big deal, especially in America.
Oh yeah,
it's some parts of America, man. Yeah.
No, I'm saying I really feel like it's the most watched sport.
Come on, Chris.
Is it? No, there's no way.
I swear to God. Would you do me a favor?
Pull us up. It's got to be
the most watched sport in America.
I swear to God, I really think that is. Oh no, I'll find it. I swear to God, I think.
How much you want to bet?
We can bet 10 push-ups.
Oh, that's it.
10 push-ups.
Is NASCAR the most viewed sport in the United States? Let's see. I'm telling you, I think you'd be shocked.
I'm not shocked that it's not.
I think it's probably a good chunk, though.
All right, so here's the thing.
Right after American football,
right after the
baseball, college volleyball, NASCAR.
It has been declining in recent years, so the answer is no. NASCAR is not the most viewed sport.
Oh boy,
the NFL is. However, NASCAR is the most viewed motorsport in the U.S.
Versus what?
But yeah, so it's only 69 compared to
anything with a ball. But
scooters. Like what are we talking?
Decline, but it was one of the most popular sports, like for real though.
No, I know it's
like
popular.
NASCAR is no joke.
Yeah,
but to me,
cool.
it's like I don't see.
You should watch the Bubba Wallace documentary on Netflix.
Oh, with those nooses and stuff.
Well, that was part of it, but it's just Bubba Wallace and the whole NASCAR. That's how I was introduced to it mostly, of course.
Through Bubba?
Yeah, through that documentary.
What is he owned by Michael Jordan? Or
he's yes, he's weighing bucks.
The company.
Yeah, he has the affiliation with them and whatnot, the sponsorship, I should say. So I learned like the business of NASCAR and how it's ran through sponsorships and shit like that. That was kind of the cool part of it. I
don't see it.
You don't see what?
The appeal
of NASCAR?
I don't see it.
I know. I think right now it's just fair weather fans, or not fair weather fans, but it's downtown Chicago, which is cool.
Yeah, I think it's just an event type of thing. It's not our norm.
It's cool that they did pass, like that it is like a different track. Like I think if it's probably a good move. Like if they start going to other cities and doing stuff in there, because I don't think NASCAR is on the radar for anyone, but like everyone's kind of been talking about NASCAR.
I mean, it's kind of like a Kentucky-based dirt road kind of sport.
It's like how it started, right?
So go ahead, get your shit off.
If you know how it started.
I mean, I know where it started, so I got the little history of how it started, but
just something to do with bootlegging.
Yeah,
like back in the Prohibition days,
they was getting away.
They was literally getting. I just Googled. Somebody told me. I'm like, no way. NASCAR started off as the bootleggers were getting away, and they were all really good at driving. So then they was like, well, let's get together and use the same people who were literally doing the bootlegging to make this like.
That's an American sport for you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's an American sport for you.
Very interesting. Kind of like how the police were started.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Like, so the police were literally started that's how it started. It's to contain slaves.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, just like slave catchers, pretty much.
Hey.
That's what police force was. Literally,
think about that.
Every police department.
How every police department started the in first principles was to stop slaves. So then think about that. I could see how it could still be.
This is why you guys don't like cops, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Hey, that's why I show like cops can exist though.
I'm just saying, it's a wild thought. It's like, damn. So your great-great-great-grandfather, who was a cop, was trying to stop my daddy from getting away.
Yeah.
That's messed up. And I'm supposed to believe that you're just here to protect me?
Yeah.
Anyways, how you been as far as the business concerned? Can we talk about this over here?
Yeah, we can, of course. The business Chicago podcast studio has been doing well, man. It's we're staying busy. Last month was good. We had some of the people that do more consistent stuff with us re-up on their commitments, which was good. And then over there we have a whole new space coming very, very soon. Probably the next time we do a podcast, just for shits and giggles, we'll do it over there. So you guys will see that soon enough. And so that, I know this isn't a huge addition, but we have a nice kind of new backdrop system that we're doing for some other just like studio stuff. So I put a decent amount of money into.
Will that change colors or something?
Yeah, it just changed colors, and we have it on white too. So it's on black because somebody was doing something with black. But one thing that's kind of cool is if you use the white and you like blast color on it, it'll absorb that color basically. So like you could do videos with any kind of color behind you basically.
So green, and then
you can do screen. Yeah, exactly. So while it might not be the most useful for like podcasting, it's a new little addition. And then as I was telling you, all the camera cart here basically is moving, which one is so we can just take it from this space to that space and be up and running. We don't have to like set up cameras and try and like move a bunch of crap because I'm all, I don't say all about efficiency, but like it used to be a lot more efficient.
Yeah, that's my thing.
And it's useful too. It's like, because this would allow us to really do it anywhere. Like, if you, two people, like we could put up a table in front of that and put a color on it. Like you could do it there. We could, now take this and move it in the front room. And like, we were going to do another set over there. We're thinking about maybe holding off on that for a little bit, but so it's cool. It was just some new stuff. Moved my desk now in the front over there. We're doing some rearranging. So I'm excited, man. It's a good change from, it's just like something about like kind of changing things up that like feels refreshing, like
especially when you're adding, because you're giving, now your business gives more value.
Yeah, and I'm. It's been nice to see people and hear people, be excited about it. And I think for a while I was enjoying kind of being like one of the few people that was doing it. But I mean, I feel like it's every day I'm seeing more studios pop up, and it's like I'm starting to feel some of that. Like, okay, like I need
Now I gotta offer something to stand out.
remind them who the OG was, and so it's good, man. And honestly, like if anything, I feel like I should have been doing it before. Not that like I don't kind of reinvest in the business, but it wasn't a massive investment. I think it'll be like a big value add, like I said. And like, so, it'll be cool to be like, hey, you can do it here, you can do it there. Like we can set you up doing this, we can set you up doing that. And then we've been chatting that probably will not apply to you, but for other people, more of like a classic, somewhat of a monthly subscription where you're getting 2 episodes, but we'll edit everything for you. And we've actually been looking into some AI stuff, Chris. You'd be so happy. There's a couple of things, for doing clips, and then there's some ones that'll just like populate like like the titles and the text and like copy, or like at this moment you're talking about this type stuff that is just like, I think it'll even do like timestamps and things we were saying, which would be really helpful. Where
it's a game changer.
Which I wish somebody had told me about it sooner, but
told you about what sooner?
Yeah, Chris gonna tell it.
Yeah, but I'm excited, man. It's good, and so we got new things happening, and I'm excited for that, dude.
Well, I gotta ask you a question that I really want you to answer.
Man.
Yeah.
What has been your biggest obstacle in this journey of the podcast portion?
The biggest obstacle, I mean, I don't want to say it's like an obstacle. I think in general, I have never like totally dialed in like my sales aspect. Like I've always, even with my other business too, it's kind of like I always struggle with like the going out there and like trying to like hound people down type stuff. Okay. Like deals that come through, they want to work with us. Like, great, we'll take you. I love it. Wonderful. But I've been a little bit bad about like the outreach, I guess, and like trying to do things. And then, somewhat the reason that we're trying to maybe push people towards doing subscription stuff. One, obviously from a business standpoint, it's a good thing. But like we noticed that a lot of people just like don't know what to do with things once we give it to them, kind of deal. Or it's just like they don't know how to like take the most advantage of it. So like if they're just doing the recording, but then like, we'll see people come, they'll pay the money to record, and then they're like doing screen recordings for clips and stuff like that, which is, it is what it is, but it's like, it doesn't give off as good of a look as if, low-key, if we were just doing it, or if you just had someone more professional doing it and stuff like that. And so I think people get discouraged luckily, I think a lot of businesses that we work with understand what it is. It's like, the podcast itself is not necessarily going to be like making money, but it's a good way to like invite new people on that like you wouldn't necessarily be able to reach out to, or like, you could just talk here in business. And like, that's great. Like you can use the clips for promotion, but obviously like we get a decent amount of people that just come in, they want to be podcasters. They just see successful people and they think that they can do it. And it's tough because it's just a tough industry, like you got to do serious numbers to get money from this, this sort of thing. It's like views only really count for so much. And so hopefully we're just trying to offer more stuff to people that like, we're just trying to give them the absolute best shot that they can. We're going to try to do some sort of like advertising program type thing where we can hopefully get some businesses that like will just, either give the studio some money and we can kind of disperse it. Like, hey, if you want to do a shout out for Vitamin Water, like you get a little bit off your session or something like that, or it's just something like that.
Get those branded type of
not even to make money for us, but just to give people more of a feeling like we're like fully there helping them and supporting them and stuff like that. So I think that's probably been, again, not like the biggest challenge, but like one of my shortcomings, I guess, with things. So and with putting new money in and changing the scenery up, you get a little bit more just excited about things. I think naturally too, like you get a little burned out. It's not burned out, but like less and less. It just seems like another day, and so like to kind of constantly be focused on what can I do to be different and like exactly, like to the next level. Like sometimes it's just you get in kind of not complacent, but like you just get in kind of chill mode and you're just like, business is coming in, things are good. And it's like, you almost got to just continue to like buckle down. And I know that obviously has been something that you've applied to your stuff where it's like, you didn't leave it up to just one business. You have, pretty cool everything at this point.
Pretty
and
cool.
so it's
That's why I should have named it.
the Pretty Cool Everything Empire.
I know, right?
And so, I think
funny.
that,
definitely.
that's it. Just, trying to, continue to focus on bringing in new stuff. And honestly, as cliche as it sounds like, just trying to help the clients, the customers out and just make it seem like they're getting the most out of it. Cause again, I think the same advice could apply to my other business where it's like, we'll do these really cool videos for people. They'll take it, they'll like post it one time and then they're like, that was it. And it's like, no, like, you gotta do like this, you should do it like this. And so I don't know, maybe we'll have some like PDFs on like how to not suck at podcasting and things like we've seen so many.
To say you might have a course.
No, I was encouraged about 2 minutes ago. I was like, where does this course talk gotta go? That's gotta be in the next 5. He's gotta have it in the next 5.
It makes so much sense.
Colton knows that we've talked. Come on, I can't do this.
You guys might have a hands-on, which you could charge a fat penny for that if it's hands-on. But then the people who don't have the fat penny but still want some good, you do like the academy with your. That's kind of what I'm doing now with this next level thing. So I figured out what they do. So Jeremy, who's got the speaking audience, he gives these free Zoom call trainings to give you a little bit of a up on anyone else who's trying to be a speaker who might not have that. A little bit of nuance. Right. So he gives you a free hour. You get some solid value, but nothing crazy, but at least a direction. And then at the end, he's like, but we have this academy. It's going to cost a good amount. If I gave you value in this free hour, imagine if you paid. Yeah. And I get some like, oh, so that's how they do it. Then they have the conference, which is essentially the academy, but in person, where at the end of it, they pitch their big one, which was like 50 grand. So I see you give a little bit, you give game, and then there's levels of it. And then it's just another way to go to my next product. And then you have that one, and then it's just another way to get to my next product. And it's just everything kind of connects. And it's almost like a formula. You start here, and then you get down to, you want the people to spend that 50, you know what I mean?
Ultimately.
But you start off with the free joint to get them in the funnel. Oh, so now, let's say I didn't buy the course, but I just stayed in that Zoom call. Well, now they got my email. Because I'll give you this free game, no obligations, give me your email, and then I can push when I'm trying to via the email. So I'm like, I get what they're doing now. Because I went to this conference and it was awesome. I want to talk about
Tell us about the experience.
Conference was awesome, but essentially, in my opinion, it was what was in the course. But you get to feel all the speakers and you get the energy of the people. So it was definitely valuable and 100% worth it. But I'm like, okay, they talked about all this in the
So
module.
glad you did that.
Yeah.
So this was a separate thing. This wasn't like if you bought the module, you could go to the event.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyone could go to this. So what they have is the academy, which is the course that you pay for to get the detailed game.
Okay.
Then they offer the elite program, which is the hands-on. Like Jeremy's like, all right, sit down, give me your speech, fix this part, fix that part. And with Eric Thomas and Inky Johnson, which are
that's 50.
Yeah, that one's. So that's way more than I thought. I read either they went up because they had this conference and dude, these speakers, some speakers, you can tell like, oh, no wonder they get paid a lot because they can, it's like stand-up comedy kind of. As a matter of fact, it is. It's performing on stage, right? And then you can see, and I went there with this in mind. I don't really give a fuck about the game they're giving so much. I want to see how they're moving, how they're interacting. How do they open up the speech? How do they close it? So I was looking more of the practicality of exactly what
speaker,
as opposed to the game, because I can get the game on the modules. And I'm like, oh. And I think for me in my speaking, what I was doing wrong was trying to make it too cute. Not being me. Like when I'm practicing, I don't feel like I was talking as if I was talking to y'all. So to do my speeches as if I'm talking to y'all with structure. Right. And I feel like I've learned that, like, oh. So it's not just a matter of going up there and telling the story. You have to go up there, from what I'm learning from these guys, you have to solve pain points. Because if someone's going to spend $10,000 for you to talk to their people, we need to be able to measure that. So you need to give actionable things that people can take away, so then they can use that to listen. So here's what happened. You're at Coca-Cola. Hey, sales are down. We need to get our people on the ball. So then they'll give it to Joe Schmo. You got 20 grand figured out. So that person says, maybe we can get a speaker in here. So then you go to Eric Thomas. Will you come talk to our people? We need to get our sales numbers up and more motivated. He makes his speech off of those pain points. He goes in there and he does that. This is what you got to do. Bop, 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 bop. And then you can measure that. So it's not just a matter of telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to solve specific pain points, which is what we've been talking about. It's like, oh. And then, so here's another thing I learned. When you're speaking to the audience, but you're also speaking to the person who's signing the check because they were the ones that hired you.
Yeah.
So you need to find out exactly so why did you hire me? What is it that you want to see? And what would be the best case scenario? What do you want the audience to get from me speaking? And then she'll tell you the information. You have to hit all those. So then if you crush it, they'll get you back next year. They'll refer you to other people.
Right.
And I'm like, oh. So there's like there's a
industry
science between this. So it's more than just getting up there, because that's probably half the battle, just having the balls to get up there and tell your story. But the other half is there's all this behind the scenes shit, and it's all just relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know a guy who does it, and that's how and then it just builds once you prove that you know what the hell you're doing speaking.
Yeah.
Did they like say, so, Eric Thomas I'm familiar with, and I know I feel like in the more of like a motivational speaker, and I'm sure there are plenty of people that are like inspirational speakers, like they have a story, I climbed Mount Everest and I didn't even have a leg, like shit like that, where it's like, yeah, you probably end up telling the same story and it's like you're supposed to just walk away feeling like, wow, look at this guy, like, man, what he overcame all this shit. Whereas like a motivational speaker, it's kind of like to hype up like a sales team and stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious, I guess, did they like try to push you guys in one direction or the other?
No, so it's a great question, because they made it very clear that not everyone's going to be a motivational speaker like Eric Thomas.
Yeah.
Not everyone's. Some people are going there literally just to give game. Like you could be a speaker just teaching people how to set up a podcast, which is more like there is no motivating. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
So they're very clear on find the one that fits right for you.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I'm writing my book right now, and I was like, so it asked me. I asked it to ask me the questions in order to get the best book that makes the most sense for me in my story. And it was like, do you want to motivate or inspire? And I'm like, well, what is really the difference? And then I asked it and I'm like, oh, so I think mine is more of an inspire.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be honest, I feel like I could do a little bit all of it, but it's like, you got to pick a lane. So then when you're writing the book, you can stay under that main guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was motivation. But yeah, they were very clear on
motivation or inspiration.
Excuse me, inspiration.
Gotcha.
I feel like, though, that you could still, and my assumption would be that like the sales stuff, like you said, you got to play to who's like writing the check, where it's like, if you wanted to talk again about like social anxiety, like I don't say who's going to hire you, but like that's a lane, right? Whereas like salespeople, it's like, listen, if I cut this check, if I pay Eric Thomas $100,000 to be here, and the next quarter the team does $1 million in sales that they didn't have because he inspired him. That's easier, like black and white, like, oh, this was a good expense, like the money went there and stuff like that. And so I think you probably could do that. I think you have a personality for that. But like,
were they specific on which industries that you can go into,
or just that like this is the one that'll actually make money, and these other ones it's like a little bit tougher?
Yeah. Like, did they give a ballpark on how these can be used? They
were very clear on. There's going to be different types of speakers, and you can crush it on all of them.
Right.
You just have to make sure and here's what I've been learning. It's like, dude, you putting yourself out as a speaker. Prove that to me. And then we talked about like, so I have like my social media content, but I haven't really proven that I could speak and people will get from that, get value from that in front of people. So no one wants to necessarily pay someone who's becoming a speaker. They want to pay someone who's a speaker. So it's like, So you almost have to get the free engagements in to get the content to prove that you could do it, which I don't mind doing. And as a matter of fact, to me, if you guys actually see if you guys agree with this idea. So I just went and bought that Rode wireless mic because I want better quality. I'm thinking about literally practicing my keynote on the side of the road and then posting that on YouTube. So it kills a few birds with one stone. One, it's practice for my keynote, which is number one. Number two, it's content. You gotta get content. And then number three, it's content that shows the vulnerability of I'm willing to show you my beginning and how it's probably going to suck compared to what it will be. Like, I'm not trying to fake that I'm already this polished Eric Thomas, because I'm not, because I haven't really done it,
Right.
you know, especially in front of people. And I think that by posting that every day, that's killing through. And I'm doing exposure therapy.
Yeah, I think that'd be good for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of the road. And I was like, all right, well, there's going to be cars, so I got to make sure the audio's good. So I had to upgrade the mic. But my point is like, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great idea.
No, it is, man. And I think that, you know, with starting anything, it's like sometimes you want to be a speaker, right? You're just like, I want to be Madison Square Garden, like everyone's, you know, throwing flowers up on the stage, like, and you know, in reality, it's like it's never just going to be like that, right? You know, like I'm sure you would love to be painted, or the, you know, however the sculptors of that to like a massive audience, and you know,
absolutely.
Carnegie Hall, and like it's just this crazy lavish event. But some people will like won't start, or they get like discouraged by like doing those free engagements and stuff like that, or like, you know, even in the video community, there's plenty of guys that like, you know, want to get into this field, but they're like, but I only want to do like music videos or something. It's like, well, you know, that's okay, I guess, but like, you know, you can't just always like pick your thing. So starting off doing stuff like that, like I said, I think that hits a couple of birds at the same time, because it is exposure therapy. I think it would be good content. And I see so much stuff where they're just like doing like street side interview type things that I think you'd actually probably do. And that would be good, one, for content, but two, just like it also forces you to like just talk to strangers and stuff like that, and like react quickly, you know, like you don't have time, you don't even have time to like really plan anything, and just be like, hey, you know, why you got anxiety or something like that, and then whatever they say, like you got to play off that really quick. So I think that would be like the equivalent of like freestyling type thing. So that would probably be. And
you know what's been helping me with that too is doing the live streams. Like, because that's essentially public speaking. It's just digitally, but it's different when you feel the eyeballs. Because I know there's eyeballs, because you can see how many people are in the chat. So there's 30 people in here. I know 30 people are looking at me right now, but it's different when you can see 30 people looking at you right now. And then when you're going in with the intention that I have something to say that's valuable to you, and then, you know, that little imposter syndrome kicks in. That's a strong one. Because it's like, for me personally, it's like, dude, and we talked about this, like, you know enough. You ain't gonna know more. It's like it's the story. As a matter of fact, it's the story that's valuable. It's not necessarily
how much you know.
So you want to extract the information from your story, but it's not necessarily like me. I gotta learn one more thing. It's like, no, the story is what'll actually help people. And people come to me like, how do you grow an audience? I'm like, dude, don't be scared to talk about the bad shit. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, the bad shit is what people can relate to more.
The bad shit is the automatic pain point creator. And that's what people need to jump over every single time. We're obsessed with getting over the hump.
And everyone's got pain points.
Everyone needs to get over the hump. That is literally a story. That's the arc of a story. You can't have a straight line of anything. That's not what we're used to. So the more you present that to people, the more we're like attentive to what you're saying.
And then there'd be more. So, and that's another thing too, is you see these people who only post the good, but that's just not the way life works. You talk about Apple, their first product was not the iPhone. So it's like a lot of people are worried to start. It's like, well, dude, I get it. It's terrifying. I get it. So you're more normal than the people who do it. That's almost not normal, but it's going to suck. Even with me talking about, dude, do the speaking, the first one's going to suck. It's fine. You're probably not even getting paid for that first one. Just go do it. Just then feel it. It's kind of like when you lift the weight, if you've never lifted, just feeling it one time, like, oh, okay, now you've primed your mind to say, I now know what to expect. I can now go a little bit more. Right. So just do it. Yeah. Like if anything, like my very first video I posted compared to the last one. How about better example, my first live stream versus my last one. Night and day difference. Yeah. Just start. And it's okay. It's going to suck because Apple sucked when it first started. Google sucked when it first started. They all sucked when they first started. Even ChatGPT, I love it. It was awesome day one. It's way better now than it was in November. Right. Which is crazy. The whole AI game is so And most people
Loving it.
still don't. Most people still
People are
don't.
still slacking, and I'll throw myself in that boat.
I mean, we're going to use it in our own way, though. I feel like once it's made valuable for a specific niche, which is, I think that's how your mind works with it, and which is very practical. But you'll use it. You're going to use it. I think it's going to be very practical for you. Just some.
And there's, I think ChatGPT kind of opened the floodgates where it's like now other people are like looking into it, and I feel like there's probably a dozen apps popping up every minute that are like using AI to some degree that actually do have more of like a, ChatGPT was cool when it was just like, give me this or give me that. And it's like, oh, it just populated this information. But, now it's like, we can put a video in and it'll like crop up clips and then it'll give us like, here's what was said in this clip. And it was like, even like ranking them. It was like, I think that was Opus. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Great product.
Yeah. And it was like, so and it's, just like anything new, I think everyone's a little. I wasn't like against it. I'm not like an AI hater by any means, but it was like, it's like I said, you got to like see it actually work for yourself. Yeah. And so
just use it practically.
Have that same value, that same idea that a lot of people have is going to make people stupid, right? And I'm telling you, as someone who's probably 300-400 hours in, no joke, because I'm listening to the shit while I'm driving DoorDash, so I have the time to put into this. Literally 400 hours in. I feel more knowledgeable now than I did before because I'll ask you questions. And the cool thing about at least ChatGPT is it's really good at nuance. So I'll say some very provocative shit like meditation is the only way to live life, right? And then it'll say, hold on, it's a good way to live life. And it's one a lot of people, but there's also other, so not to forget. Yeah. So it keeps you like grounded with even my very strong to make me see both sides of life. So I feel more knowledgeable with it. But I'm doing less bitch work.
And maybe my opinion on that has changed a little bit because it's like, there's so many things that it's like nowadays, just because we have like technology to help us out that we just like don't have to do. I'm trying to think of a good example, but like technology helps us out in so many ways that like, it probably makes everyone like a little bit dumber, but it's also like stuff that we shouldn't have to do as much anymore, And so, whereas if you wanted to look in like the best phones, you got to read like 4 different articles, do this, go in the spec sheet, and now you can just ask ChatGPT, like rank these phones. This is my lifestyle. Which one do you think is the best one? And so it's like, does that maybe make you dumber for not having to like go do that research on your own? Like maybe, but it's also like, you saved all that time now, and now you just didn't have to do that, which like you said, maybe is like the bitch work kind of deal.
Yeah, right. Like Zapier.
I don't know if that makes you dumber. Sorry to go ahead.
Yeah.
No, well, the Zapier, like, so especially for someone who's like trying to start a business, right? There's so many things that have to get done that's typically the bitch work. Like if someone signs up for email, they should get a steady dose of the first 5-6 emails on point. Zapier will do it automatically for you, but you got to set it up. But before, I would have to remember, write it down every day, set up, I got to send the first email, then I got to, in 3 days, send another one. And then you got to, but my point is GPT using Zapier can like do all of it. So it connects. Do you guys know what Zapier is?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So go ahead, D. Tell them what Zapier is.
I don't want to explain all that. I'd rather you
explain. So all it is, it's an app that connects apps to other apps.
Sure.
So if this happens, then I want this to happen. Yeah. Someone signs up for my email list, I want them to get a tweet or what, and it's like 1,000 things. Whereas GPT, you have it do it for you. So I don't even because you still have to like set that up. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Now GPT sets it up for you. So it's literally like it's almost like I have too much time because it's like, okay, but I still feel like I'm not doing enough, which is crazy. Yeah. So I feel like I'm doing so much more.
That's fair.
That's because, you have more time to do more things that you never thought you could do.
Yeah, like
so many things that you had your attention on don't have to be paid attention to. So now your mind is free to connect to other things, but that's so nascent to you, That's what all technology has always done throughout history. I don't know if it's making us dumber. It's just making us focus on things that we've never tried to focus on before. So that makes us feel out of whack a little bit.
What happens when we no longer have to focus on any kind of bitch work?
I think we always have to focus on, I don't know about the bitch work because that's just physical work. All physical work is technically bitch work to us. But until we get to that level, I would never know.
I think, you think we'll ever get to just pure creativity?
We'll have to come to that term that'll be redefining what creativity. But that's the thing. We always are redefining what creativity is. If you take a picture or something, when photography came out, that was like an imbecile did that shit. Like, why would you take that? That's not from a person's hand. Like, what is that? That's a nuisance, Mm-hmm. So every time a new technology comes out, there's always a bit of pushback to it
Yeah,
because the
people
brain
always
has to open up to new things that we've never.
Some haters.
Yeah, haters, but literally because you hate on what you don't know as a species, it's just hard for us to like something that's new automatically.
I think you just get dependent on it. Maybe not as dumber, but it's like this sort of stuff, like you lose how to like actually do it somewhat, you know, like, and so again, it's like maybe not such a bad thing, but, and I'm not going to go on the conspiracy like AI is going to take over type shit, but it's like, you know, if you depend on all these things to do all this sort of stuff, like it's like when the internet goes out and you like sit at home, you're like, man, like I don't even know how to entertain myself anymore. Yeah, it's like, geez. And I'm sure that the more AI involved with your business, and it's like the second you lose functionality of that, or they do this and do that, it's like, man, I don't even know how to like write these emails anymore. I don't even know, like, I don't even know what AI was doing in the background, and now I have to like try
I'll
to
give you that. It's kind of like MapQuest or something.
Or Google Maps.
Yeah,
Google
exactly.
Maps.
Like, yeah, you could.
I haven't memorized a number in years. I don't know your number by heart.
No, I wouldn't know any numbers, but we don't need to.
Right. But then some people say, well, now they control you then.
I don't know. I
That's
mean,
fine. That's fine. You can control me if I can know where I am at all times, and I can look at your system and you can tell me. That's cool. You can control.
You know, that's it. Go ahead.
Well, MapQuest is a great example where it's just like something that totally helped you out. Whereas before you'd have to like figure it out. You got to plan. You got to print out directions, all that shit. Now it's like you just put in your phone, go there. But the flip side is that like you get there and you're like, I don't even know how I did this. You know, people would be like, it happens all the time. People like, oh, hey, how'd you get down here? Did you take this road? That I'm like, I just did what the phone said, bro. Like I have no idea. I don't even know what direction I'm headed, basically. And so
I just think that's new knowledge opening up.
It's not that bad of a thing. Like the last time I've had to like use actual navigational skills.
Yeah. Do you think that the internet won't be a thing one day?
No, I don't know.
No, it's going to be heavily integrated into some more things though. It's very important tool that we have, man. So I think we still have to build a lot of stuff off of it.
What's the most important tool that we have as humans?
Probably the internet. I mean, because I imagine like if the internet like genuinely just like shut down,
like, it's a lot of shit that would go.
I feel like planes no longer
right away.
Like maybe not like falling out the sky, but like just to get on a plane is impossible. You know, like all of your cell phones no longer work. Basically, I mean, I guess maybe cell service is not quite internet, but. Yeah, it would be.
Do rotary phones still work?
It'd be catastrophic.
Yeah, it'd be catastrophic.
Who still has a landline?
Wait, do people still have landlines?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's like everything is hosted by servers. Like, yeah, if the internet literally just shit itself, I mean, that would be like mayhem. Like, I think that would actually like.
Especially since the major countries are ran on it.
It would be like the equivalent of like, yeah, the power grid just like going off. Like, it would be.
So you think so?
You couldn't buy gas. You couldn't go to the store. You couldn't buy things. What are they going to just do with cash? I don't know.
Yeah, how do you send shit electronically?
Yeah, so the internet is like
deposit
the scanner to like scan the barcodes. They wouldn't even. That wouldn't work.
You still got the credit card slider.
Yeah, it's going down. It's
process it later, dude. Yeah, like no. And the second the internet shits out, when everyone's trying to buy $200 worth of groceries, they're not going to be. Oh yeah, you'll pay this back later. Yeah, they're like,
because you know, like when at the restaurant, when the shit went down, you had to use that slider.
Yeah,
and how horrible it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like they used to do this all the time.
That was life,
man. What was I about to say? What the fuck were you talking
about? Armageddon. The world falling apart. The internet shutting
the kaleidoscope.
Oh, you talked about the kaleidoscope like 5-6 times, bro. Come on now. We know about the kaleidoscope.
Come on,
it's serious.
I have heard about this. What is some other stuff that we can bring up, dude?
I'm telling you, it's important. It's so important for people who are scared. Yesterday, I was at this little shindig, and the guy was like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna do AI. I don't want them to get my privacy." He was all about his privacy. I don't get the argument. First of all, they already know everything.
Yeah, I think that's it. My brother was saying the same thing where he's like, I don't want to do too much. I'm like, bro, listen, like the AI has already like scraped all the internet. Like there's so much information of you out there. So it's like, they know you exist. Like,
it's fine.
You can't hide too much information from that, you know? Like your phone's probably listening to you. Like people that worry about it, it's like, if you're going to worry about it, like you need to actually be like tinfoil hat, no cell phone. Honestly. Like you need to stay away from streets that have cameras. Like you need to live out on your own.
On the lake.
Like if, you live on your own land and like, out there and you like don't associate with the internet, it's like, okay, you're legit. You genuinely are like don't want the world involved. But
Right.
people be like, I don't want them knowing my information, but they have like TikTok. And again, we're not going to go
Just
into all
like-
that, but like any social media, it's like, dude, they know. Like,
Look, just watch any court case, especially like murder trials and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
They know
text
everything.
messages that you
They
get
know
right
they
on.
will get
Yeah.
whatever they want. They know everything.
AT&T,
if they want it.
Verizon, they'll
You
give
share so
you
much
up
stuff.
fast as fuck.
Absolutely.
Bro. Yeah.
They can get
Facebook
everything.
alone or Meta has 50,000 data points on each person on it. 50,000.
Minimum, yeah. And
They know you
everything.
more than you know you.
They
Yeah.
know where I went yesterday, who I talked to, who I was with. You know, yeah, you take pictures of people. That was one of the first things with Facebook, where it's like, we recognize the person in your phone. You're like, God damn. How, you know? And it's like, this is your friend, this person. You want to tag them? It's like,
Yeah.
shit.
I mean, when it comes to the privacy thing, it does not bother me at all. I feel like they already know everything. So
Yeah. I mean, America knows everything anyway.
They can make my life easier. My life is easier the more they know.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a cool system that's built. It's like a private company. And that's always our fight with the public and the private, just as citizens and shit like that. But it's funny how a private company makes something so valuable to where you would want to give them 50,000 data points on you. Because it's all information that we're giving them. You know, we're putting all of this information into these data points, and especially with the ChatGPT, just really putting the whole internet's data points on everything. So it's very interesting how we kind of look at that as it's the time now for us to look at ourselves from a mirror standpoint and then see how uncomfortable we are looking at ourselves.
You know, it's interesting because GPT does not store any personal information unless you put it into the thread, but it also can scrape the internet, which has your information out there. But they're very specific on, we do not take personal information.
Yeah, I was just speaking on the information just out there as a species and whatnot, and just reflecting that back on what we've put into it already, and just now for the first time being able to see that reflected and being like, oh, I don't know if they have too many data points on us and stuff like that, you know, on what we know.
Do you think most people care about that or don't care about that?
I mean, that's a care. I mean, I don't know what most people care about, but it's a care out there.
I think people like kind of pretend they care, or just don't
Right,
realize how
yeah.
like hopeless their care is, you know, because it's like, dude, it's the cat is out of the bag. Like there's no shot. Like even if you go out and like live on your own land type stuff and completely disconnect, it's like people still know a lot of shit about you, you know, like
It's
the
just
government, you're still gonna pay taxes. I don't know, they're gonna get
that's
you.
why I say it's just a citizen fight back thing with, you know, citizen versus privacy and government and stuff like that. It's just a democracy type of fight back. I don't know if they really care that much about the AI part of it.
People will like pretend to, like, again, the same people that are like, I don't want them knowing this sort of stuff, are like the same people that just like give them that stuff all the time, or just like
It's
well, it's just like, yeah, again, it's like, chat, that scares me, but like, again, TikTok, I like all these videos. It knows your preferences. You signed up with your email and your phone number, and like, you know, you got Google tracking on, and you did the review of this restaurant. And it's like, I don't know.
They know everything.
They know everything. And
they know like shit about you, like on like a deep philosophical level. Because they know what you stop on. They know how much you watch of each. I feel like there's way more than we even think. Somebody who's a kind of a conspiracy kind of guy, they probably know even more than what I think that they probably know.
Well, and also I will say all with, you know, I feel like they understand it's like a delicate line to toe, and I'm sure ChatGPT and everyone else, like, you know, Facebook getting, you know, called into Congress, like, what information do you track? Like, I can almost guarantee you that they track and know more than they let off, and they'll never like be transparent. That ChatGPT, I'm sure, knows and probably stores a significant amount of stuff that like they're just not like maliciously trying to keep, but it's like, you know, they say like data is the new currency. You know, it's just like there's no shot that they're like completely playing nice, like corporations and companies,
especially once you get that big, right?
Yeah, and when it's like, and just the you know, the power of it. Like, again, like I think, you know, Facebook was one of the first people to be like, we know what you like, so we feed you ads that like are catered to you, and like that was such a crazy concept. But when you really like break it down, it's like I don't think it's that big of a deal to some degree. I think we talked about this on the show before, where it's just like, all right, I no longer see like tampon ads and ads for NASCAR because like I'm not into that. Like you see stuff that you're interested in, which makes sense. And with things moving forward, it's like it'll just get better and better about knowing things that you like, which it's a little scary at times too. It's also like, you know, like shit, great. Like when I search food near me, it's like, don't even put the restaurants I have no interest in, you know, like
it's getting more, it's just getting better.
Like, I don't want to go there. I've never eaten at a, an Indian place will say it's like, don't even bother with that shit. Like, just
Give me
like,
Indian. I love it.
I had to say something. I was going to offend somebody, but yeah, I don't know. I think that people.
What about this Apple Pro Vision? Y'all gonna get that?
Oh shit! Well, so we were thinking briefly. We have one client that's big in like the VR space, and we're like, it'd be sick to like do like a VR set, like have podcasts in VR here.
Okay. What you thinking? Talk to me.
And so there's a little bit of technology hurdles where it's like we want to do it in a similar way that we could have like multiple cameras and like do it like a production type thing, but it was like expensive and complicated enough. Like to do like the multiple camera thing. I spoke with some guy in the UK because he actually had like a perfect thing. It was pretty much done with I'm sure you guys have seen some clips of, I think it's just called VR chat, where it's all basically where like the internet furries hang out and like do stuff like that. But to do like, he was like, yeah, you can do like full body tracking, but you got to have space for it. You got to have like a pretty, GigaChad computer and stuff like that. And then we just took a poll and it was like, most people were like, I'd try it, but like not do it. I'm not going to spend like $5,000 to find out that like nobody gives a shit. But I think that virtual reality and augmented reality is absolutely going to be
a thing.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's one of those things right now. Everyone's like memeing about it, but
Zuckerberg was he's just early as hell, but it's actually
it's dope. So early. And I think that it'll I don't want to say like the next smartphone, but it'll just like people will poo on it until it's in their everyday kind of stuff. And they just realize how like cool that shit will be. And once they get it real good too, man, like VR
you saw the commercial or whatever, right?
Yeah, of course. It's
going to be wild. Like, have you've seen it?
I haven't seen the commercial.
So it's like these, first of all, they look kind of badass, but it's still going to be too big, I think, for people to be comfortable.
It's still big. Yeah.
You need to make them like Ray-Bans or something.
And that's what everybody said. I think it's just a technology.
Or maybe some contact. How dope would that be?
And that, I think at some point it'll obviously get there. I think everyone was, at least I was a little like disappointed with, it looked just kind of like every other VR headset. And like, it was almost like goofy where it's like, it's hard to even like film the commercial. Like there's literally a shot of like the girl with like her big smile and like she just had like they did some like pass through so like you could see her eyes on like the screen.
So
I
actually read into
stupid
that
as hell, like it just.
So there's actually not a pass through. It's a video of the eyes, which is super weird. So
okay,
it's not, which is super interesting because it's not really your eyes.
And that's what I said. It looked kind of bogus and the whole thing.
But that dude Marquise Brown,
yeah.
So I watched one of his reviews on it, and he said because he got to try it. He said the technology is so crazy that it's got all these different cameras looking at your eyes, and that where your eye goes and you tap your finger, it's like extremely precise. So just looking at it, bop, and you just move around, and they're like ding, 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 where your eyes. He said he goes, it's kind of impractical now, but so was the iPhone.
Yeah,
the very first iPhone was like compared to now, it was kind of just a core, and I think that right now it seems like it's just an iPhone on your head because the iPhone does AR right now too.
Yeah.
So I could do a Snapchat
just
and
2D.
put a damn dinosaur, so we already kind of have it, but now it's going to be like here.
Yeah.
But I could see the use cases is once they make it cool where people don't feel weird about wearing it out, everyone's going to want that.
I think once everybody starts doing it, but one thing I found,
it's expensive.
It is expensive.
$3,500.
Classic Apple there. But one thing that was kind of funny, and obviously a lot of people noticed, and I think I've told you guys, my brother works for Meta. He works in like the logistics, but he works in the VR department. And so, they were pretty excited actually. And Mark has been, supportive of Apple doing it because it's like getting more attention and giving more, credit to like that this is going to be something popular because Apple's doing it on top, but they like kind of went out of the way to not mention the metaverse, which to me I was like my brother
Apple
which and so I don't know how you guys feel about it, but like I at least initially was under the impression like the metaverse was like kind of a Facebook product, but that's not the case. It's just like the next internet anyway. They didn't speak on that, obviously, like a lot of like typical AR VR terms they didn't even like say in the Apple commercial. So it was a classic just like them kind of being like, we are the only players in this space. And I feel like for me, the thing that'll get people into the space is like more experiences and more like game related stuff where it's just like, holy shit, this was cool. Because I feel like the Apple commercial, it was like, you know, you can wear these big ass goggles and now you can like, instead of having a little screen, you can just have like a blown up like TV to do stuff. It's like, okay, that's cool, but like
We already really
also
got
not
that.
that wild. You know, it's like,
Right.
you know, it's like, fuck, like, do I really need to sit in bed with these goggles on and like to watch it big on my screen? Like, you know, I could,
Right.
I don't really give too much of a shit. Like, I think when you can get VR games to feel like real as shit, you know, like that'll be really
we
cool.
need Ready Player One.
Yeah, shit like that. And we've talked about it
That's what
multiple
we're working
times
towards
about
anyway.
like just other complementary things that would like, I feel like support the industry, where sports is like number one, that like you could set up
It
a
has to
nice
be.
VR setup in the middle center court, charge $5-10 to get onto the stream. And then you just wear your glasses and you are sitting courtside at, you know, the big game type thing. And like,
That I
again,
think
if it
will
looks
crush.
good enough and you could just like be there, it's like, yeah, it's infinitely scalable. You could sell it to whoever. And it's like, that is something that I think people would actually do to some degree.
Because I would like
you know?
to see that.
Yeah.
And like,
Be
yeah,
courtside at the
courtside
Lakers
with
game.
LeBron.
Yeah, I knew you was
What?
thinking that. I knew you was especially
Oh,
thinking.
what up, bro?
yeah, and like you could, you know, they could have their own little like chat and stuff like that. But you could do that at your house with a buddy or two, or you and your kids, and like you all put your VR goggles on, and opposed to watching it on your TV, you can just like be there, you know. And so I know that there's some stuff like that, but I think that they need to do more shit like that and less like Apple, again, I think is like not quite being like a team player on it to some degree. And I think that that might change a little bit, but there's nothing about games, which again, I think is like another kind of
I think it will come though.
I think it will come, but it was a little disappointing, I guess, in that sense. I think technology wise, it was very impressive. We'll see how people take it. I think anything Apple, it's again, like everyone that was like, oh, fuck VR headset, blah, blah, blah. Like Apple comes out with something that's like the new fucking Starbucks, you know, it's just like,
it's going to be niche.
holy
It's gonna be
shit,
super
Apple
niche.
did it. Like, I don't know.
And you obviously want it to be kind of expensive, because then you get like the diehards that enter that thing, because I feel like all the Apple products when they first came out were hella expensive.
Yeah, but I didn't. 3,500. I would expect that from a VR
I feel like
headset.
that makes sense.
I mean,
for
that
new-
phone is 1,000 plus.
Yeah,
would
again, I feel like
expect.
it's
and it's a standalone.
right.
expensive, but it's also like, yeah, like the people that give a shit will just like buy, you know, like $35 is a lot of money, but it's like, it's a lot of machine, you know, and
There's a lot of technology built in that.
yeah.
Yeah, there's something. I don't know the exact
Facebook's
number.
going to come out with the cheaper one, and there'll be tons of other cheaper
Right.
ones. Like Apple's always been a premium
But at
product.
least now
and,
they're
like,
fighting. So now it ain't just Facebook's doing Meta doing theirs. Like,
yeah.
oh shit, now we got to take this serious, which only probably is better for us as the consumer.
That's
yeah, well,
capitalism.
and it's again, they view it as like a win. At least Mark views it as like, he's not necessarily like, these guys are going to be like threatening my numbers as much as like, you know, they're bringing more eyes to the industry and stuff like that. And if anything, the super high price tag, because this winter, I think they're coming out. Facebook is with another headset, and it's like
The Quest 3?
Yeah, I think so. And it'll be just, I don't know how much, but significantally cheaper. And
I
stuff.
think it's like
So
$500.
like, yeah, it's like
Compared to $3,500.
significantly cheaper. And so
Nice.
I think, yeah, no, it's a win-win.
Competition.
And, yeah, and I don't.
As far as making the games, did you see this? So with the AI, first of all, this AI shit's crazy. They figured out where they can have the characters in the game that you just kind of like, just side characters, not even main characters, where it's real time answering questions different for every single person. So you can ask it anything within the storyline, you can ask it, and it will be like your own personal
cool
experience to the game. So no one will ever have the exact same experience
That's
of the
cool
game.
as shit.
So dope. And it'll talk to you, and it's like real time. And I haven't played one of these games in a couple years, but the technology, even that, like the ray tracing shit, like how it's like it looks real, like it's getting crazy. I remember when I was playing 2K in 2020. So that was I felt like I was in the league. Like the way it just moves, the way like you could tell they're getting really good at making you feel something different. So we gotta be Ready Player One. What?
Hopefully
20 years?
soon. I don't know.
Maybe less,
Yeah,
especially
probably
with
less.
the AI doing all of it to machine learning and getting better things that we don't even realize.
Yeah.
It'll probably figure out faster ways that the human beings haven't figured it out. And it feels like AI is like, oh, okay, we got this. And all the bitch work it would take to get to that. Now a machine's doing it.
Right.
The world, I think, is about to be fundamentally different, big time, within 5 years.
I think so. I
Like,
would give
completely
I was
different.
gonna say like 30 or 30, 2030.
People
or
always
so.
assume it'll be like quicker, but man, technology does move at a crazy pace.
like exponentially ridiculous.
I think it's just going to need some sharpening. We have, but the thing is, the technology we're creating is already pretty sharp. It's just that we have to create the systems to make it useful for us. And then, so I think our but our pain point is going to be use case for all of it, for everyone. So it's such a sharp technology. They can get so much information sharp as you can get it right away. But everybody needs to start figuring out what best, use case for yourself.
Because it feels like a .com rush gold mine with all these different, because there's like a lot of the same
you can build
tools.
so much off of it. Yeah. So I'll give you a little bit of what I've just used off of it. So I just revitalized the Pretty Cool Apes part of my brand, and I made a .org out of it, right? So what I did was I hired someone to create a blog website for me. So created 140 blogs based on the topic of my choice, and I had to be about the comparison between chimpanzees and bonobos and comparing them to figure out the social relationships that they have between humans, right? So he created 140 blogs for me using AI and with answers, video attachments that's YouTube related and all that whatnot. So then after building that, I had my other person using AI prompt or AI app, I should say, to create YouTube videos. We're starting a YouTube channel for Pretty Cool Apes too. So it's going to be comparing, or it's going to take each blog. We're going to take about 30 blogs.
It's like with Synthesia?
I don't know exactly which one he's using, but we're going to take the blogs and we're going to make videos out of each of those blogs for it. So with voiceovers, all that stuff included with it. So just using these things to set up for cheap, for very small prices, but using these things to set up just information-based programming for yourself, like finding different use cases to make it work for a story you want to tell. So that's one way I'm even using it.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
And especially with these new, have you guys heard about the add-ons? Not the add-ons, the plugins. So when you buy the Plus, there's like a whole app store, plugin store. So you can literally use one of the plugins to create that video. So make me a video on digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will go to that whatever plugin that makes the videos and make it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
With stock footage, with the words that make sense. Yeah. This is crazy how crazy this is.
Love it.
Really quick, I want to talk about this before we get out of here. This is called the Ono fidget roller.
I was wondering I didn't know if it was a.
So it's like an anxiety, stress relieving. So I got another one here. But right? What this is, so I'm actually giving that away.
Okay.
So this is part of it. But you can feel that one. So yeah, and I find myself playing with it. It's got a nice feel. Remember those fidget spinners? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm about to roll a nice joint on it.
I don't know if they want you to say.
But do you remember the? I'll just cut it out. But you remember the fidget spinners?
Oh yeah.
It's like the kind of new age version of that.
Yeah.
So they hit me up like, I don't know, a month ago and was like, "Would you mind if we sent you one? If you would give an honest review?"
Yeah. I
said, "All right, I'm gonna be honest. Because I want to keep it 100. They said, cool. So they sent one on the house. I did a review on it. And I'm like, it's kind of cool, especially for some people who really need that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel myself playing with it all day in the car, like literally just playing with it. So then I hit them back. I said, hey, why don't we, this is a company, like a legit company, said, why don't we do like a giveaway? And we could, I'll do a give, you can give one of these away and I'll give away some merch to make people get to do their own exposure therapy on camera. And then we'll do like a raffle.
Right.
So just giving away value. So even if you lose, you still win because you're getting outside of your comfort zone. But if you win, you get outside of your comfort zone and you win some cool shit. So definitely be on the lookout for the contest. It is this weekend. It's called the Ono Fidget Roller. And this was purple.
Oh.
Derek, where can they find you, man?
Yes, you can find me. I'm actually introducing now. I've actually talked to you all a lot about different things that have been going on with me. I've had the pretty cool maps, pretty cool poses, pretty cool apes, pretty cool blah, 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 right? Now it's all in one place. I have the Pretty Cool World. Prettycoolworld.com is where it's all going to be consolidated. This is actually something that I've been putting together for a couple years now. It's probably been about 4 or 5 years. So all the things that you've seen me talk about have just been a piece of my character. Pretty Cool Travels is something that's important to me because seeing the world helps me to see myself. It helps everyone to see themselves because you see yourself in other people. Pretty Cool Poses, me being a model, that's helped me to see myself more deeply as a human, a nude human, flaws and all, just being that grounded person and so on and so forth. I want you all to go on prettycoolworld.com to check out further. This is something that I feel that everyone deserves to have. We all need to have a set of worlds that represent us to where we can also monetize off of it, but also express ourselves. And this is my vision. I believe it's kind of a newer vision for people as far as a business setup. I'm not really sure if people break it down like this, but this is something, a vision that I have for people to be able to support themselves, but also take care of themselves and learn who they are. This is very important. So prettycoolworld.com.
So are you serving as an example?
I'm serving as inspiration. But I also offer a service to where you can actually book with me, schedule a consultation, and we can talk about providing the same type of service for you. We can provide a same type of ecosystem for you, I can say.
So somebody, hypothetically speaking, ooh, I like what he's got going on, I would like to do that. They come to you and you can help set me up to do it.
Absolutely. You can find that service on prettycoolworld.com under my services tab, actually.
Go.
Yes.
And I actually went to Atlanta 2 weeks ago through his site.
Yes.
I got to Atlanta and got back.
And yeah, absolutely.
So it works.
And thank you. I just received the commission off of that this month. So that's what I mean. And I just got a sale from Pretty Cool Maps the other day. Shout out to the lady from Arkansas who just ordered a nice dress from me. So all of the systems are working right now. And that's what I mean. It feels good. As an entrepreneur, it's tough. It's tough being an entrepreneur. So to find the many things out here that can help you to express yourself, but also allow you compensation is very important. So that's the type of ecosystem that I've been working on for the 5 years. I would love to provide that for other people as well, while also offering my services and products and information.
So sounds like a plan to me. That's a phenomenal. Tom, where can they find you, man?
Nothing. I don't have a speech like that.
Talk about Nova. Talk about Chicago.
That's right. So Chicago Podcast Studio. We do have a new set coming, which is very exciting. Lots of new things, I guess, happening, and we're buckling down and we're doing it better than before and better than anyone else. So Chicago Podcast Studio, motherfuckers, go visit. Book a session. You can be cool like us. But Chris, where can they find you, man?
Hold on. I saw you had Trip Advice in here a couple times.
Right.
Yeah, so did you know him? Yeah.
I've been following him for years.
It's too funny. People. Yeah, he ended up.
Is he from Chicago?
I think so. He was in Austin, maybe. But then he ended up moving here, and so he hit me up. And
he lives in Chicago now.
Yeah, he lives in Chicago now. Yeah, he moved out here. And yeah, he was one of those guys that had just called me a couple of times. I never looked him up actually until he was actually in for a session. But yeah, he was, he more or less was he just wanted to have a big group of people, and I'm like, we're kind of limited to 4 people basically. And so. Anyway,
that'll help over there.
Yeah, and so oh my gosh, I'll tell you what, Trip, if you're listening, he's just trying to pack people in. So we're gonna take the couch and put it over there, and we're gonna expand even more. So probably not a service that we're gonna offer for everybody else, but
right. But
for him, it's a little bit different because he does a little bit longer streams and wanted to book a couple ahead of time and stuff like that. And he's been a good guy. So we've enjoyed Trip. He brings in some interesting people, and nice. But yeah, it's funny. I didn't know he was quite the guy that he is at the time. And it was funny when his first days here, someone just down in the lobby recognized him, and I was like, "Oh, this guy must be legit." I didn't even look him up. Yeah,
you've had a couple of cats in here.
Shout out to my boy Corporate too. You have my boy Corporate.
He's hilarious.
I watch literally every episode he does. So shout out to Corporate. I saw that and I was like, "Yeah, my boy Tom is on."
I didn't know he was coming. So he came in with these guys that have been good clients as of late and stuff like that. But yeah, he sat down, and I didn't even look at him really as he walked in, and then I saw him. I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "I know who you are, man." And I'm like, I watched a lot of stuff. I haven't, to be honest, kept up with him as much as of late. But when he was
literally watching the night before,
doing all the I think it was more on Facebook that I was originally seeing. But the what was the series called? Shit that happens in Chicago.
Black Part Chicago be like Black Part
Chicago 2. Maybe
he's doing it on YouTube right now.
Man, just the little phrases he would do are just so iconic.
He's so Chicago. I love it.
So it was cool to have him. So it's been good.
Where can we find you, baby?
Man, you can find me at any platform, including LinkedIn.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, I swear.
You know what? Just real quick, that's where people are going to be that are going to send you checks.
Honestly, for real, speaker shit.
Whoa.
No, for 100%.
Speaker shit.
Who would have thought you can make money?
It's just so many there's so many. So I'm doing this new one called Lemon 8. It's a whole new one. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter,
characters,
LinkedIn.
man.
So that's why I need LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, Zapier.
Yeah.
So if I post one thing, it could just post it everywhere else. That's why I really need a team. But you can find me on any platform pretty much at Chris Cares None. You can also go to caresnone.com to get some merch to help out with that.
Hell yeah.
And to get some resources to get over social anxiety. But what's coming up in the future is I will be doing some speaking engagements.
Yes, you will, mother.
And I can vision it. I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot about it. I'm learning so much about communication, so much about public speaking. All the exposure therapy was leading up to this. Like I'm ready for it now. It's just a matter of doing it. So I'll tell y'all right now, I'm about to make a real impact because I feel like I've done it a lot. Like I said, I've been viewed 60 million times. You know, got a bunch of followers across all the platforms, but I'm trying to make it like
expendable,
like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Like I really want to like leave my mark. Not sure why I'm this way. Probably because of trauma as a child, but I get off on helping as much as I can. And the way I do that is just work on myself, document the process, and have the courage to tell the story. That's it. It's the only thing I've done, and people tend to relate to that. So that's where you can find me. Sorry about my voice. It's been shitty.
Good. It was good.
It was
a little better today, but it's been shitty for.
I know you've been out here.
I think something like legit might be wrong with my voice. Imagine not having a voice at a speakers conference.
Yeah,
brutal.
We were chatting about that, but I'm glad you're feeling better.
And as always, cares none. I can't scream it. Cares none.
Right. Fuck all the bullshit.
All right, y'all. Great episode.